Hello everyone. In this video, I just wanted to show you guys how simple it is to import a rig, an ARM rig, and get it working with animation. So here I have two animations set up, and I'll just quickly show you guys how this is looking. So these are like IK animations. These are not just deform bone animations. So it should help you figure out how to import animations in rig as well, because for me it was a little bit complicated to understand, but once I did, it was pretty intuitive. So I hope I can clear that doubt and show you guys how it works. All right, so the first thing, you need to get this model. This model is available on Sketchfab for absolutely free by this guy, Mr. I can't pronounce the name, but I'll just add this link to the description, and you can download this model. It's pretty good. Now, once you download this model, you will find this zip file. All you have to do is go inside it, and you will find this MyRigDARM. Extract it and just open it up in Blender. Now the rig is great, but we need to do some certain adjustments for it to work uh, for our game. So what I like to do here is, first I will just move this, go to object move, Alt G, and that should move it up. Now you might see that these bones look like wires. So if you're new to Blender, it's not, it is just the same armature, just looks different. So if you are used to that, you can just go to the armature and viewport display, and just uh, display as octahedral, and that should make it the way that you are used to. But again, it doesn't really matter. Now if you look at the rig, and if you go to pose mode, you can see that the fingers have IK. So the fingers here have IK, but these fingers don't really have IK. These are just deformed. So what you can do is go to edit mode by pressing tab and just symmetrize these things. So just select all of these bones and press F3, and once you press F3, you can just search symmetrize and click on that. Once you do that and you go to pose mode, now the fingers here are also working with the uh, IK stuff. So that is great. Another thing that is not great is that there is no root bone in this armature. So what I like to do is I go to edit mode and just press Shift A, move this bone up, and this can be our root bone now. Now all you have to do is parent these bones to their root bone, the clavicle. So select the clavicle bone, press the root bone, Control P, keep offset. Do the same thing. First the clavicle, then the root, Control P, keep offset. What that does is that you can now have this root as the control. So you have a root bone as well. It's always good to have a root bone when you are importing to game engines. And yeah, that is it. Now what we have to do is we have to make IK for these hands, because these are FK hands, so that would not be great for animating. So what you can do is, there's a very quick and easy way of doing that. Again, go to edit mode, here, click on this bone, and just extrude it in the X axis, and this should give a bone. Now once this bone is here, all you have to do is clear its parent and just disconnect it. So just disconnect the bone, and here you will see that it still has parent. So Alt P again, clear the parent. Now we have our bone that is separate. Keep it where it is. All right, keep it where it is. Now once you have that selected, select the bone and select the lower arm, and all you have to do is go to pose mode and press Ctrl Shift C. This will bring up the constraints, and you just have to constrain it to inverse kinematics. Now go to the inverse kinematics of this bone. It is in the lower arm, the bone constraints, and once you see that, here it is. So in the lower arm, select the lower arm and bone constraints. Here it is. you will see that there is chain length. Currently it's 0, set it to 2, and once you move this, it should now move. So now we have IK working for our hands. So we'll quickly rename this and call this arm IK target, and at the end you just have to press dot R, or if you are doing it in the left side you have to just make it dot left. Capital small does not matter here, you just need dot R and dot L, that's it. Now we have here dot R, alright, and this is working. Now we need to add a pole so that we can actually work with the hand and also have control over the elbow. So to add a pole, again it's very simple. You can go here in this view, go to tab, so click on tab and go to the edit mode. Alright, click on this bone, and again you just have to extrude it in the y-axis. Do the same thing, Alt P, clear parent, Alt P, and I think it's disconnected already. Yeah. So again, move it a little behind. Move it a little behind. I think this distance is enough. Then go again back to the pose mode. Click on the lower arm and go to the bone constraints. And in pole target, just select this bone. And again in bone, just select this bone. Now this will kind of move the arm a little weirdly, so all you have to do is make the pole angle to be minus 90 degrees, and that should make it work. And here now you can see that the elbow is now fixed towards our pole, and now you can move the pole and the elbows will move with the pole. All right, so again now you can change the name to um, arm IK pole, and yeah, just make sure it's dot R and dot R so that we can then symmetrize. Once you have done that, and once you see that the rig is working perfectly, you can just select this side, go to tab and edit mode. So once you are in edit mode, all you have to do is F3 I mean, and just symmetrize. And now once you go to the pose mode, you'll see if I go Alt G, reset, and you can see that the rig is working perfectly. It's working pretty good. All right, so now we have set up our rig in Blender. Now we'll see how we can add animations and import it to Unity. So importing is pretty simple. All you have to do is select the armature and select the mesh. Before we import this to Unity, before we export this here and import it to Unity, let's create a very simple basic animation just so that we can see that we can import animations. All right, so I will just go here. I will make visual location rotation as the keying set. Again, you should this is not an animation tutorial, so if you don't know how to animate, you can look up other videos. So I will just create a basic movement just so we can see it's working. So I'll press I and I will go 24 frames, just move it here, and I guess that is okay. So we have this movement, and then maybe I'll just get it back here. So just a simple movement. All right, so I will limit this now to 34 frames, and you can see that it's just a movement, right? So now we have this animation ready, but what we need to do is we need to actually bake this animation. The reason is that we are actually using Blender's bone constraints, right? And Unity doesn't really understand uh, Blender's bone constraints, so that won't work. So what we need to do is that we need to bake this animation to the deformed bones. So how can we do that? It's pretty simple. If you go to the action editor here in the timeline, you will see that we have this action, right? And we have the keyframes for this action. Here it is. Now, all you have to do is press in the pose mode, press A, select all the bones, Fn to F3, bake action, and just select these options. So only selected bones, visual keying, and clear constraints. Once you do that, if you are animating, this is an armature, so we'll go with pose data, location, rotation, and scale. Press OK, and this will create the animation and it will bake it to every deformed bone. So this animation is now being driven by the deformed bones and not the IK. So the last thing that I want to do before we export is that we need to make sure that these bones do not get exported to our FBX, because these are not deformed bones. These are just bones for controlling our bone constraint, which is the IK. So select this bone, select the pole bone, and here you'll see deform option, uncheck it, do the same here, uncheck, do the same here, uncheck with the IK targets, same here, uncheck. Alright, great. So now we are ready to export. Just make sure again that all of the targets and poles are unchecked as deform. That's great. Now go to object mode and select the armature and the mesh. Doesn't really matter which way you do, just keep both of them selected. File, go to export, FBX. Now in FBX, here there are some options, right? The most important option here is to only import things that are the armature and the mesh. Apply the transform, and for scaling stuff, I think FBX unit scale is what's recommended. And geometry, don't look at that, doesn't really matter. Uh, Only deform bones. This is the most important option, only deform bones. Select that and uncheck add leaf bones. All right. Once you have that, you can now go to animation and here select key all groups, key all bones, I mean, uncheck NLA strips, all action, and force start and end. All right. So once we have that, I can just import this as FPS underscore arms and 1. Since I already have one, I don't want to mess this up. So we can have this FBX file. Now I will just export this. You can make it a operator preset and just use these settings. Once you have that, you can export, and if we go to the file explorer, you will see that I have the FPS arms 1 FBX. Alright, great. Now you just have to import this. Just drag this to the engine and you can import this here. Now we have the FPS arms setup, and I'll just delete this here. So FPS arms have been exported, and here you'll see that this animation is also exported. And if you click on this animation, you'll be able to see a viewport here, and you can see that the animation is not playing. So you just need to make sure that here this bone is actually called root. All right. So here we go to bone, and I will just call this root, and I will select this. Once I have this, you can see that in the bone, the first bone you'll see is the root. All right. So now select, export, FBX. We have the same stuff going on here, the same settings. You can go to FPS arms 1, export. I'll go here, export the file, and if we see here, you can see that this is now working perfectly. All right, you can see it's working great. Now what you have to do once you import this animation, let's say you want to import the animation again. you want to import a different animation. How would that work? The way that would work is that you need to create an avatar from this model. So you have to create avatar from this model. Go here, and for the root node, you have to select the root. Once you do that, click apply, and you will have an avatar here called FPS Arms 1. All right. So once you have that, you can go back to Blender and let's try to create another animation. So again, I'll just quickly add the constraint here, and I've added it here, and I have made this simple animation. All right, this 2 keyframe animation. Now we will import this. How we will do that is pretty simple. Again, you just have to first create select all of the bones, go to F3 and bake action. Only select the only selected bones and visual keying, and then clear. You don't have to select anything else, and press OK. And now your constraints won't get cleared, which I did unfortunately before. Now you have this animation, and let's import this. So again, you have to do the same thing. Go to File, Export, FBX, and here you can just go to Select Objects and make sure that your armature and your mesh, both of them are selected. Now export, because what you need to do is you need to keep the object hierarchy the same every time you send or export an animation. If you don't do that, it will mess things up. Selected objects, armature and mesh, we have the same settings. Armature only deform bones, animation only the key all bones, that's it. Now I will import it as anim underscore 2, and I'll export this. And once I export, I can go to File Explorer, anim underscore 2 FBX, and I will just drag this to my project, drag it here. Again, it will import everything, but what we are looking for is this animation, this anim2 animation. And here you can see that our animation is working perfectly. Now all you have to do is just select the animation that we imported, press Ctrl D, and that will export this animation from our FBX file. Now you can just uh, safely delete this. And once you delete this, make sure before you delete, you should copy from other avatar, and here just go to the FPS arms 1 and apply. And now that will make it so that this animation can work for this arm as well. So now you can just add these animation to an animator and it should work. So I'll just show you guys by importing the FPS arm 1. Here we have it. We have the animator, and I'll just add this arm controller that I've created with this animation, this scene animation. And you can just press play, and here we'll be able to see that this animation has been imported. Make sure that you put the controller. If you don't know how to make controllers and stuff, you again need to watch some other video. And drag this controller. I've already pre-made this controller here, and I can add this transition here. Can just quickly make a loop, and just give this the loop pull through. And now once we start the FPS arm, here you'll see that it will now do the animation that we have created. So now it is working between the two animations that we just made right now, the one with the hands going up and the normal animation that we made previously. So in this way you can import animations from Blender to Unity. The thing that you need to make sure is that you need the same hierarchy when you import. So in anim, here we can see that basic character is the root object, And in the FPS arms here as well, we see that basic character is the root object, because when you create the avatar, and in the avatar when you create this uh, what do you call this avatar, right? You provide the root node, and this root node is like a directory. If basic character is missing, it will be like, well, there is no basic character, so well, I just won't work. So when you just import an armature, this will not work. That's why you need to import the whole model, extract the animation like this, and now you can just delete the animation FBX and it will still work without any problems. So I hope this made sense. I was thinking of doing it quickly, but that took me 20 minutes. Again, it's not very difficult to understand. Once you just need to make sure, if you're using a generic rig, that you need the hierarchy to be accurate, and the animations can be easily retargeted. So even if you change the mesh, even let's say if you change the mesh, these animations will still work perfectly. So I hope this video helped. Again, if you have any questions, you can let me down in the comments and I'll try to help you as much as possible. All right, see ya. Bye.